things I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. So during the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we're making back out. Yes, I have my doubts. But they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out. And I don't understand. So roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. And I have my doubts. So I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we're making back up. I have my doubts. So we're all messed up and out of touch. Let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night.
Good evening, something like that. Man, I don't know if I'm allergic to some type of pollens or what, but today has been unreal. Let me have a sip of tea. So, real quick art updates. Patreon will be having a video here soon. Had an event happen with the Big Grow tent that, I couldn't see coming. However, I took the opportunity since I had to deal with it and decided I would video it, so it will be part of the germination video, because that's part of it. So anyway, still working on that. Like I had told you before, I had setbacks. Well, setback after setback, but I'm making progress now. So I'm making 50% progress. So we'll see probably tomorrow or the next day if I can get the other 50% progress. So I'm trying. I know one thing. I really need to get a temperature controlled germination mat. So because that is my issue. So anyway, man. So, tonight might not be real long because of all this crapola. So, just be aware. As I was coming to do the show, well, literally, like, I think the intro was playing when I put it out. There was a headline that I want to go over. Maybe check out the article. I haven't had a chance to even look at the article yet. It literally just came out. And yeah, I would like to see it. I think you guys should probably hear it. And we'll go from there. So it has nothing to do with the subject. Like I say, it was just a news article that popped up. Get you guys switched over. U.S. federal judge charges marshals amid row over refusal to reveal COVID-19 vaccination status. This is kind of insane, so let's see what's going on. A federal judge in South Dakota is on the warpath against U.S. Marshal Service that provides courtroom security, accusing them of kidnapping and criminal contempt after they refused to disclose COVID-19 vaccination status. On Monday, U.S. District Judge Charles Kornman fulminated for nearly an hour at the courthouse at Aberdeen as Justice Department lawyers and two of the marshals he once criminally prosecuted took notes. This was such an outrageous thing to do, the judge reportedly said, according to the Washington Post, referring to the incident last month when a female deputy refused to tell him if she was vaccinated, and took the three defendants with her when Kornman ordered her to leave the courtroom. When you move someone against their will, that's kidnapping, Kornman said. I don't care who you are. Nothing like this that we could find has ever been done in this country. If this is the marshal's position that they can override court orders, they are badly mistaken, he added. Kornman wants obstruction of justice and criminal contempt charges levied, not against the female deputy, but against the Marshal Service Chief of Staff John Kilgallen in Washington, D.C., as well as Daniel Mosteller, the Marshal for the District of South Dakota, and his Chief Deputy Stephen Houteling. I guess you got to have a whacked-out name to work for them. He gave the federal prosecutor until Friday to do so, or he would appoint a prosecutor who will. The trial date is already set, September 13. The feud goes back to March when Kornman sent a letter to the marshals demanding to know if the people working in his courtroom were vaccinated. Hang on. Move this a little bit here. We are not talking about politics or conspiracy theories. We are talking about science and protecting all of us who serve the public here, as well as the jurors, lawyers, and parties who come to this building, the judges had written. If you're refusing to take the vaccines, I want to know so then I can decide what further action to require on my part. I'd always thought that the principal responsibilities of the Marshal Service was the protection of the federal judiciary, Kornman added. As it stands now, they could well be the most dangerous people in the courtroom. Mosteller responded in April that the Marshal Service would not be providing the vaccination status information in the court. The service said it did not know the individual deputy's vaccination status. Another letter from Kilgallen said the USMS was down to 69% of their strength, and any court order mandating deputies to be vaccinated may negatively impact the ability of courts to conduct their business when such security is required. You know, because a lot of them would say, oh, hell no. Current rules for South Dakota courthouses say that everyone not fully vaccinated must wear a face mask. At Monday's hearing, Kornman said his staff did not wear masks, suggesting they've had their shots, while the marshals and the DOJ attorneys all did. Kornman noted during the hearing that his own staff had suggested that the deputy who left the courtroom with the suspects might have planned the stunt in advance. Kornman also touched on Saturday's decision by his colleague Lynn Hughes in Texas, ruling that Houston Methodist Hospital had the right to mandate vaccinations, even with the jabs currently classified as emergency use only by the U.S. regulators. You hearing this? He also called the marshal's arguments disingenuous and called one of them simply false, specifically the explanation that one of the defendants taken from the courtroom was a murderer. The defendant had prior manslaughter conviction and was in court for relatively minor probation violation, Kornman argued, according to the Post. Born in 1937, Kornman was nominated to the bench by President Bill Clinton in 1995 after 30 years in private practice in Aberdeen. Between 1963 and 1965, he was the executive secretary in South Dakota Democratic Party. So, wow. So now this is two cases of precedent for mandating this vaccine. Are you watching what's going on here? Ain't taking no time with that, are they? It's two. It's not going to take long. What they're essentially doing is throwing out any chance in hell for us to say no legally. You watch. So I wanted to read that because seems a bit important to me. I saw that come in, like I say, as the intro was playing. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell to the no. Huh. Okay, let me have a sip of tea. Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to the landlord today and telling him the same thing. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy shit. I kind of interested to see what happens with this Biden-Putin summit. I don't think good's gonna come from it. Oh man. So, now to the title of the show, people might be wondering. That's actually just a headline. That's all it is. One of the headlines that I put out this morning. And, well, part of the headline. And it just reinforces what I've been saying for quite some time now. And so I figured what I would basically do is just go over the article. A lot of the information that I've been telling all of you is just information that's been coming out over time. I just pay attention to it and put it on little post-it notes in my brain. And then I've got this uncanny ability, when that topic comes back up again, to reach back like a Rolodex and pull out that previous stuff. Usually with enough detail that I can find the previous article, if need be. Or articles. So, there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that I had been covering over the years. It's not anything, to me, a surprise. Hang on. For the old superstition, somebody's talking about me. Knock it off. Ears itching. My palm was itching earlier, which is supposed to mean that you are going to receive money. But it's just because it's hairy, because I'm kidding. Calm down. Calm down. Oh, man. All right. Let's go over this, and then we'll do headlines and make it a quick and easy night. And probably gonna hit bed early tonight. I'm tired. I have been coughing like crazy all day long. Anyway, ow, the neck hurts. Let's see. All right. Let's check this stuff out. All right, here's the article I was referring to. The headline is Fewer Nukes Stockpiled in 2021, but more of them primed for launch as U.S. and Russia upgrade arsenals, Arms Watchdog reports. So I'm just going to go over the article. It's actually not long, as you can see there. In 2020, the world's nuclear powers have decreased. Hang on, let me get this where I got to get it just in the right spot, or it's hard for me to read with the wires. Hang on. I know I'm probably making all kinds of noises. Sorry. Okay. In 2020, the world's nuclear powers have decreased the overall number of nuclear weapons in their possession, but more of them than a year ago are now ready to be fired at short notice, according to a report. At the start of the year, there were around 13,080 nuclear weapons stockpiled by 9 nations: the U.S., Russia, the U.K., France, China, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea, which is down from 13,400 a year prior. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute reported on Monday. Yet at the same time, the number of nukes deployed with operational forces, that is, mounted on missiles or stored where they can be quickly prepared for use, has increased by about 105, reaching 3,825. Russia and the U.S., the two nations holding most of the world's nuclear weapons, were predominantly responsible for both changes, SIPRI, or CPRI, I'll call it CPRI, said. Both have continued to reduce the respective arsenals by retiring outdated warheads, but also prepared for action, adding some 50 weapons each. A change in the UK's nuclear position was another major development in the current nuclear deterrence situation, noted in the report. In March, Boris Johnson's government dropped a pledge to reduce its nuclear stockpile to 180 by the mid-2020s and said it would instead procure additional weapons to a total of 260 warheads. Britain started the year with around 225 nuclear weapons, up from 215 last year, CPRI estimated. The Institute predicted an increase in nuclear stockpiles in the future and an upgrade of the arsenals of all nuclear nations. The rise in the number of operationally deployed nuclear weapons in Russia, for example, was linked to the deployment of more advanced missiles with multiple warheads. We've talked about that. The last-minute extension of New START, Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, by Russia and the USA in February this year was a relief, but the prospects for additional bilateral nuclear arms control between the nuclear superpowers remain poor, remarked Hans Christensen, CPRI's leading nuclear disarmament expert. Let's see. China remains the third largest possessor of nuclear weapons in the world, with an estimated stockpile of 350 devices, the report said. France, India, and Pakistan have also declared stockpiles estimated at 290, 156, and 165 weapons, respectively. Israel is believed to have around 90 nukes, but neither confirms nor denies its status. North Korea's arsenal remains classified, with CPRI estimating if it could have produced 40 or 50 nuclear devices by the beginning of 2021, though it's debatable whether Pyongyang can make fully functional missile warheads. I'm pretty sure they probably can. Anyway, the reason why I actually wanted to put the show around that is because I really do think it's something we need to pay close attention to. And I've talked about this on previous shows. I'm not going to go back all through it again, but it hasn't been that long ago we've been talking about this. And I explained on those shows why I think that we stand at a much higher likelihood now than what we even did during the Cold War. And that's largely because of technology and mainly because the scalability now of those warheads. So, but anyway, again, I'm not gonna re-talk that old argument. That was not argument, but that old discussion. Get ready and include that in your preps. You know, radiological contamination, include it in your preps. I wouldn't have been so hard and heavy on that 4 or 5 years ago. But man, I'll tell you what, things are really going south. So anyway, get that closed. Like I say, I am beat. So let me make it an easy night, get the headlines out of here, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. So, telling you, we need to get that Nerf gun. We just need to do it. I put an end to slurping from a distance. Oh, man. All right. All of them from today. Starting out with Russia tops list of countries most affected by cryptocurrency threats, says a report. 8 hospitalized after racing car rams into spectators at mud track in Texas. Lack of investment could push crude price to $200 a barrel, says Nigerian National Oil Corporation. Wow, pardon me. If that happens globally, wow. U.S. sanctions on Russia's sovereign debt come into force. Size matters. U.S. gives Trinidad and Tobago, population 1.4 million, 80 vials of Pfizer jab. 80? How mighty nice of you. Iran's Navy launches new indigenous destroyer and mine hunter. Oil extends gains thanks to robust demand as vaccinations against COVID-19 boost travel sector. Former U.S. Special Forces operative and son admit helping ex-Nissan chief Carlos Ghosn to escape to Lebanon. China blasts G7 group and sinister intentions of U.S. urges West to stop interfering following communique criticizing Beijing. One killed and 2 injured after man drives into group of Minneapolis protesters. Prosecutor's office in Seoul raided for evidence of tampering with footage of 2014 seawall ferry disaster. We must address security challenges posed by China, NATO Chief Stoltenberg says ahead of military bloc summit in Brussels. Probe into infamous 1987 murder of British sleuth may reveal links to Murdoch media institutional police corruption, says reports. Philips recalls millions of breathing machines amid pandemic over potential health risks. Novavax COVID-19 vaccine extremely effective, says CEO. 100 million doses per month to be produced by end of Q3 after successful trial. Iran says it's reached agreement with U.S. on lifting of Trump-era economic sanctions. 16 injured after gas station fire triggers powerful explosions with mushroom clouds in Siberia's largest city. Right? Man, I'm telling you, there's an awful lot of explosions going around. A lot. South Korea relaxes COVID restrictions on music and sports events ahead of plan to end quarantine for some vaccinated travelers. Removal of Netanyahu from power ends one of the worst periods in conflict with Israel, says Palestinian Authority Premier. Yeah, that's going to be interesting too. A buildup of inert gases at Chinese nuclear facility, French partner firm says after reports of U.S. investigating possible leak. A captain of burnt sunken Sri Lankan container ship arrested, arrested, environmental disaster and oil spill fears. Disney World drops mask requirement for vaccinated guests, but won't require proof. So, for unvaccinated guests too. No, there's rabbits across the street playing in the neighbor's yard. Kind of funny. Let's see. The great diversifier Bitcoin pushes above $40,000 after bullish comments by veteran investor. Cover that article. Let's see. Another prick in the wall. Roger Waters cheers out Mark Zuckerberg for wanting to use Pink Floyd protest song in Instagram ad film. What, are they still chasing each other?
The one kept trying to jump up.
Supreme Court asked Biden administration whether it should challenge Harvard's race consideration in admissions. Let's see. French prosecutors drop abuse investigation into political scientist at center of incest scandal. If the cameras weren't about ready to kick over, I would move the one over where you guys could see it, where everybody could see it, because I can bring it up on my computer monitor too, the security cameras. Anyway. Let's see. Huge blaze breaks out at Illinois chemical site after enormous explosion. Locals evacuated, and that's kind of what I was saying. Lots of fires and explosions. American unilateralism and intervention is driving global instability, not Russian actions, Putin says ahead of summit with Biden. ICC chief prosecutor requests crime against humanity probe into Philippines drug war killings. Cyprus ends prosecution of police over alleged negligence in serial killer investigation. Surprising U.S. hasn't blamed Russia for starting BLM movement that shook nation, Putin jokes, while backing African American rights. U.S. intelligence leaker, reality winner, released from prison for exemplary behavior. It's wrong to say Russia doesn't tolerate political dissent, Putin blasts, as interview with NBC descends into row over Navalny. Johnson pushes England's COVID lockdown exit back a month amid spread of Delta variant and rising ICU rates. I'll bet you, if things are even remotely what they appear on the surface, that this whole deal with NBC was to try to do as much psychological damage as possible before the Biden meeting, because Putin's just going to take his dog for a walk. Let's just be real. Republicans introduce measure to censure AOC and other squad members for inciting anti-Semitic attacks in the U.S. No, you are fake news. No, not you, but satire site forces New York Times to retract calling them misinformation. A UK PM misled Parliament by briefing media regarding COVID-19 updates before MPs, says the Common Speaker. Musician Eric Clapton attacked for revealing his own COVID-19 vaccine side effects, concerns for kids. Yeah, they're going after him because he talked about his side effects, essentially. And so, yeah, they're saying he's dissuading people from getting it. Ukraine gaining access to... isn't that nice to know that they don't want anybody to tell you about what happened to them? I just think that sounds absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Hang on, you got 5,000 bings and bings and bings. Okay. Ukraine gaining access to NATO's waiting room remains to be seen, says Biden after Kiev's Zelensky claimed it was confirmed. Canadian prosecutors charge suspect behind truck attack on Muslim family with terrorism. McConnell promises to block Biden from filling Supreme Court vacancy if Republicans take control of the Senate. FBI hypes QAnon threat again, says some conspiracy theorists likely to attack Democrats. Russian official warns conflict between China and U.S. would exterminate all of mankind. And see, we talked about that too on those other shows. And I personally don't see that happening. I do see a fairly decent chance for nuclear weapons to be used, but I think it's going to be very tactical. I think it's going to be, definitely not an all-out, and I think it's just going to be a handful of cities. And I know that's a big deal, but in comparison. 3 to 5 cities in comparison to the entire planet. Kind of a difference. So that's kind of what I foresee coming. A limited exchange. But that's just... let's see. Whistleblower claims UN is working with China as she faces losing her protection. Let's see. Former Biden advisor roasted after saying Americans should have sacrificed more during the pandemic. And we covered that headline. There you go. That is it. I am going to get out of here. Man, that is a quick show. That works, though. I am going to get out of here. I am going to get some rest. And I will see you all tomorrow, God willing. So, until then, as always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.